gotta go.
Okay, let's head out. We're going to go for a walk and
All right, come on, Bruiser.
have the opportunity of being with Bruce today. Bruce is on the board of directors for the Oconto Area Humane Society. He's been part of that for about 6 years. And we're going to take Bruiser for a walk. Look at this beautiful dog. I don't know if we saw Bruiser the last time. He might have been out in the kennel area. But
Yeah, he's a
him.
big boy. He likes to walk. You know, he's been with us a long time, and I think probably a little bit because of his size. Not everybody has has room to take a 100-pound dog, and but boy, he's just a gentle soul.
He's beautiful.
Isn't he? He's just really pretty.
Hey, sweetie. Hey.
Doesn't want to miss anything.
Well, Bruce, people don't know you, so I'll share a little bit about what I know.
All right.
And here,
only the good stuff.
only the good.
Which way do you want to go?
Let's go left.
All right.
Yeah. So I know you've been on the board for, or associated with the shelter for about 6 years, and you're so committed to the cause. You grew up in Oconto Falls, but now you're down in Little Suamico, so that's like 20 miles away.
Yeah, you know, and it's really kind of ironic, you know, growing up in Oconto Falls, and of course now we're in Oconto, and well, Oconto Falls and Oconto were always big rivalries. So this is about the last place I thought I'd ever become familiar with is Oconto. But yeah, my wife and I have moved to different areas of the U.S. We've lived in Oklahoma for a while. I've been in Georgia for a while, settling back into Wisconsin and back into the area. As you mentioned, I'm in the town of Little Suamico, just about a mile south of Sobieski, so not all that far. It's about a 20-minute or 20-mile drive, something like that. So, so not bad.
That's real quick.
Yeah. And been with the shelter now for off and on, well, not really off and on, but doing things for them. I'm a past president of the board of directors. I've been on the board. Oh, here comes another dog. Let's see how Bruiser does with them. Come on. I know that dog's friendly. I'm not sure about this guy. Come on, Bruiser. Come on, you're okay. Never mind.
We can just increase. I think he'll stay there.
Come on, never mind. There you go. Good boy. And that's pretty good.
Yeah.
As big as he is.
He handled that really well.
He was definitely interested and still is.
Keeping a close eye, aren't you, big guy? Yeah.
But, you know, I got involved with the Humane Society, and it's just been a great opportunity. You know, we're struggling a little bit to begin with, and have since turned that around. So it's, you know, I felt that I had the availability of time and the opportunity. I was recently retired, so come on, Bruiser, come on. Oh, come on, you're good. There you go. Good dog.
Come on, buddy.
Good puppy. Yeah.
Probably associated with the buses in some way.
Yeah, that's their shop dog. He comes over to see us once in a while.
So I read your profile a little bit, and you really see, as a board member, you're not aloof and distant. You see yourself really as connected to the community, and you try to, it sounds like you're also trying to get involved with opportunities where you can raise awareness and also raise funds for supporting the mission of the Humane Society as well. So I'm really glad that you and I could connect, because the whole drive of the campaign that we're trying to pull together, and we're going to start officially on Monday, the 6th of September, is driven around trying to raise awareness about the center and also raise funds at the same time. And I guess Lexi said we've already had 2 or 3 people that they didn't want to wait till Monday, so they've already contacted the shelter, and one gal told me last night that she donated through the website, and when I came to visit Lexi the other day, someone had called in with a donation, so they're jumping on it fast and furious.
Well, that's fantastic, yeah. You know, it just, you know, it's a great opportunity for people to help the local community. You know, for years and years, you know, people really didn't know we existed. And, you know, we've done a lot to try and promote our facility. We belong to the Oconto area chamber, or the Oconto City Chamber, belong to the Oconto Falls Chamber of Commerce. We're also members of the Lakewood Townsend Chamber of Commerce. And we've got a great support group out of the Lakewood Townsend area. So this is just another fantastic opportunity for us to get the word out.
Well, and right now it sounds like you're at capacity in the shelter as well. So the word is, you know, you have needs to support the operation. There's a lot of costs in running an operation like this, but you also need people to be reminded that there's great dogs like this one that we're walking with right now that
a classic example.
Are waiting for a forever home.
Yep. Yep. You know, and in most cases, you know, we don't know a lot of the background with the dogs that we have. Same with the cats. Sometimes we do. If they're surrenders, we'll get some history with them. But for the most part, a lot of our dogs come in as strays. And so we don't know a lot of history. So, you know, the more time we spend with them, we can develop a little bit of knowledge and pass that along. You know, and somebody like Bruiser, it says right on his profile that he's not a good fit for a household with other dogs. And you can see that.
He's dominant, yeah absolutely.
He's a dominant male.
Sure.
But you look at him now, I mean, you know, he's just walking along, very curious, very interested in what's going on. And
he's watching that bicyclist right now.
He is. He said, I don't know that I've seen one of those before. Well, that's one of our volunteers.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing? Don't want to take your job away.
Oh, did you start in a video?
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of our volunteers. He comes in and walks dogs for us. And,
I go over for coffee in the morning most times at Crivella's in town, and I see him often, and then if I'm walking the trail in town, he'll be out there sometimes on his bike as well. So we've met on a number of occasions.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
Kind of, you know, that's great about small town living, you know. You know, growing up in Oconto Falls is smaller yet, and you know, coming to Oconto, boy, that's the county seat, so it's a big town.
Sure.
But it's not, you know, it's just a small town, so
well,
it has a big heart.
Well, and a little bit on the personal side, I read that you have a red healer. Is that right?
We do. It's a
Sam, right?
Yep, Samantha.
Okay.
Samantha Esther.
Oh, neat.
Sam's a rescue. So yeah, we rescued Sam as a puppy, and she just a bundle of energy. I think I need to get a herd of sheep so I can kind of keep her occupied.
Give her an outlet, huh?
Yeah, her microchip that she's geared with is to herd things, and
sure.
It's really kind of ironic when our sons and daughter-in-laws come over with their dogs. Sam has to get everybody in the right spot.
Oh yeah, get everybody in order and line them up.
She's got them all where she wants them, and she kind of lays right in the middle and watches them. So,
sure.
So she herds them. What do you think, though, Bruiser? Huh? All kinds of stuff over here, isn't there? Yeah, lots of stuff. Come on.
He's got for such a big, muscular dog, you can just sense the sweet nature in him.
Yeah, and you wouldn't think it, you know. People always look at it and say, oh, he's a pit bull, you know, he's dangerous. No, he's not, you know. You just have to show him who's boss, and, you know, you have to be the dominant one.
Well, we just walked with Diamond yesterday. Richard and I walked with Diamond.
One, yep.
And also an equally sweet pit bull terrier
Yeah.
too.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, they're given a bad rap, and that's the problem with sometimes the hype around animals is they get a certain breed and they start propagating certain what they think are truths about it,
Yep.
and then all of a sudden everybody believes it. So
Well, and that's, you know, it's been that way. You know, it was German Shepherds, it was Rottweilers,
Dobermans too, yeah.
Dobermans. You know, just this is the newest one.
Sure.
And of course, these were used as fighting dogs, so that didn't help matters either.
Well, regarding the shelter, what are some of the most important things you want folks to know about it, the mission that you have, and also the needs that you have?
You know, I guess probably the biggest misconception, if you will, of an animal shelter or humane society is, you know, we put dogs down, and we don't. You know, we're what we call or what is called an open admission shelter, which means that if you have a dog that's going to be hard to place, such as this, you know, there may be other shelters that won't take this dog in simply because he is hard to place, or if he's sick, or if you have one that's injured and needing vet care, we'll bring them all in. And that's what's referred to as an open admission shelter. And we do monitor and track our live animals in and live animals out. And of course our euthanasia rate. And right now, our live animal release is probably pushing about 90%.
Well, that's incredible.
Which means that we will qualify as a no-kill shelter.
Well, and Lexi shared with me that you've even, when your occupancy hasn't been as high as it is right now, you've taken dogs from Milwaukee, surrounding areas like that, from Texas.
Yeah. I was able to be part of a group that went to Madison, to Dane County Airport, to receive a plane load of dogs that came in out of El Paso, Texas. And boy, that was just a tremendous experience for us. You know, to see a whole plane load of dogs come in crates and kennels, and you know, there was shelters from Minnesota, from southern Wisconsin, from northern Wisconsin, and of course us from central Wisconsin, northeast Wisconsin, just all over the place. We were only able to take 5, but it's still a help. You know, we still help the area.
Well, and Lexi was saying one of your big costs, because you had just had over 20 animals spayed and neutered recently, are the medical costs. And I thought of that as we were walking by this vet clinic right here as well. I don't think I didn't realize that from an operational standpoint, you sometimes can spend $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 in 1 month just for the pre-care of these pets like Bruiser that, you know, that get them ready for adoption. Those are all upfront costs to the shelter.
Absolutely. You know, it probably costs us, you know, between vet care and meds that we purchase, on average of about $7,000 a month. And as you say, it can go up 10, 12, 15,000 depending on the number of animals. Fortunately, the vets do give us a pretty good break, you know, so if it wasn't for them working with us, we'd probably be 25 to 50% higher yet, which would make it extremely difficult. And so, you know, so we're pretty fortunate in that respect. And having one right next door, the Oconto Vet Center, just tremendous. You know, they'll call us up and say, hey, we've got an opening. You got anybody who needs some care? And we'll either say yes or no. And you know, we don't do a lot of our spays and neuters there simply because they can't take as many at a time.
Sure.
We do most of those at at a facility in Green Bay where we can take 25 animals in one day, you know, drop them off in the morning, pick them up in the afternoon.
So all of you watching right now, you can hear what Bruce is sharing, and that is they've got these costs, they're ongoing, even amid the pandemic, when things slowed down dramatically, and a lot of places would just button up. People were not able to come in and look at dogs and cats and other critters. Those bills keep on coming in. Dogs and cats and other animals are still getting prepped for adoption. They're still being fed in the winter. This shelter has to be warmed. And so even after we get done with this fundraiser to benefit the Oconto Area Humane Society, I would encourage you, just like with the History Museum down in South Bend, Indiana, where we did the fundraiser, that you look at opportunities, to continue to support this shelter, to partner with them, and to look at opportunities to and see the bad rep this little guy. Look at his tail go. Look at that tail go.
Yeah, it sits right down for you. Look at that.
Look at that tail.
Hey, I like being on camera.
Yes, he does. What a sweet boy. What a sweet boy.
Yeah, Bruiser needs a home.
And I have to be honest, I don't think Hank, who's a blackmouth cur, I don't think he would have done as well with that dog that was kind of checking you out. You were very, very patient, so sweet and so patient. Look at you. Oh yeah, you're so ferocious. You're so ferocious. Well, Bruce and I, why don't we go inside and we'll visit for a little bit and let Bruiser chill out after that walk, although he's probably like, I'm just starting to warm up, guys. Let's
drink of water.
Let's loop it again.
Yeah. Next time, let's go at my pace.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on. Come on. There you go.
I'm all set up in here. This is where I met with Lexi, and got a good strong battery, so that's good.
All right.
If you want to just have a seat on the bench there, that'd be great, and I'll join you over in that red chair, and we'll just kind of chat a little bit. Well, I think Bruiser, I'll tell you one thing, if Hank weren't as equally dominant as Bruiser, I think that'd be a tempting prospect there. He's such a sweet little guy.
What'd you say Hank was?
He's a blackmouth cur.
Okay.
And looks almost like a miniature German Shepherd in his, but he's just smaller framed.
Yeah.
Much smaller framed.
All right.
So, well, I just want to thank everybody, first of all, for the response you're already giving to this campaign. We're starting with a pretty modest goal, actually. 100 Wonka bars. You make a $50 donation for each bar, and then you raise your odds of getting one of those golden tickets. And we're only going to be offering 100 Wonka bars. So our goal starting out, we didn't start with a goal for South Bend, Indiana History Museum. Here we're starting with a goal of 5,000. Maybe we'll go above that. I think that would be fabulous. Again, we could always add more Wonka bars. So let's start with 5,000 in mind and kind of go from there. But Bruce, talk a little bit. You had written down some notes. Talk about some of the points that you want to share, and I'll just respond, as I get thoughts in my mind. So.
Sure. As we had mentioned while we were walking, I've been with the facility now since 2015, early 2015. And at that time, I had recently retired from my job, and for the third time.
Okay.
One thing I'm not very good at was retiring, but I think it finally stuck now. I decided it's time. But But I needed something to do, so I was looking for different opportunities, and I felt that being able to, I've had a pretty good background in management. I've had a decent background in physical labor, and I'm not afraid of getting dirty and getting down in and doing things, and I can help work with people. And so I thought, the Humane Society seems like it's always looking for help. They're always needing something. My brother-in-law was involved with the county board, and he had said, boy, the Humane Society could really use somebody with a strong background in management. So I thought, I'll give it a try. And when I did get involved with the board, basically it was a small group that was put together. They kind of did a hostile takeover of the previous board, simply because the place was just really going downhill. It wasn't being run to the best of what it could have been.
Sure.
From a financial standpoint, they were just hours almost away from shutting down, simply because there just wasn't any cash coming in. Things just weren't being managed very well. And so there was a small group of individuals that kind of took over. They were family, they were friends. One became the president of the board, another one became the director of the shelter, one was the treasurer, another one was the secretary. So it was just a group of people that were concerned citizens and friends of the shelter. And so they did their best, they did all they could, but things they were struggling, trying to make ends meet. And when I got involved with it, I seen probably the biggest area that we could really improve on was community relations. And
Okay.
just letting people know who we are, what we do, where we are. Almost everywhere that I would go and start talking a little bit about the shelter, people would say, well, how long's Oconto had a shelter? I didn't know they were there. Where are you guys at?
Yeah.
And at that time, they had been there for like 9 years already, 8 or 9 years, and people didn't know where we were. So I seen that as an immediate need. And so, I got involved and decided that, okay, we're gonna start doing local fundraisers, we're gonna be doing more meet and greet. The first thing that we needed to do was get a director the director that we had was just filling the position until we could find something. She was an interim director.
Okay.
And so we brought Lexi on. She was actually an employee of the shelter. We upgraded her and promoted her to the director on a trial basis. And
About 6 years ago.
about 6 years ago.
Yeah,
And she did a fantastic job. So we put her on full time, and Lexi and I started touring the local area. We met with different town boards. We met with different local facilities. We'd go out and meet with people in nursing homes and schools and hospitals, and
Sure.
anywhere we could find an ear, we talked. And we talked about different things. As I mentioned while we were walking, we became members of different chambers. We got involved with the Oconto Chamber of Commerce, the Oconto Falls Chamber of Commerce, the Lakewood Townsend Area Chamber of Commerce, and found that the Lakewood Townsend area, although they're like 80 or 90 miles away, the far northern end of the county, as far as you could go, just terrific support. And all of a sudden, donations started coming in. And I remember one very vividly. Lexi called me one morning and said, she said, first she said, "Are you sitting down?" I said, "Oh no, what now?" Usually that's bad news.
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, I'll sit down, what's up?" She said, "Well, I was going through the mail." I said, "Yeah." She said, "I opened one envelope," and she said, "I seen we had a check for $500. I said, "Great,
Fabulous.
that's fantastic." And then she put it on a stack and was continuing to go through the mail. She said, "That's not right." So she looked again, thought, well, it must be 5,000. She looked, okay, maybe it was 5,000. So she went on, did more. Then, so she looked again, it was 50,000.
Oh my goodness.
And So she called me, she said, I can't believe this. She said, somebody sent a check for $50,000. And this was a lady that's been a supporter all the time. She supports us every month, she sends us a donation, and it's a rather sizable one. And so we invited her to come in to Oconto. She's from Lakewood. So we invited her to come to Lakewood, or to Oconto Falls, to Oconto, and took her to lunch and got to meet her and sit down with her and chat.
Sure.
And she said, you know, I had a CD due, and she said, I really didn't need it, didn't know what to do with it, and she thought, yeah, you guys could use it. So she sent it to us.
So casual about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, you know, just.
Well, that's a big deal.
You know, I didn't really need it anyway. And then we had another opportunity where somebody actually called and said, and this was somebody that had called previous and said, I have something I want to show you. And I said, okay. He said, well, I said, can we meet somewhere? I said, no. He said, I want you to come out here. I'm thinking, all right, you know, as long as it's not the loaded end of a shotgun, I guess, okay. So I went out to see him, and he was in a rather nice house, an older gentleman, and really gruff sounding and grouchy sounding. And he had his garage door open, and he said, well, what do you think? I said, well, it's nice. You know, there's two boats in there, one rather large one little small fishing boat. And he said, well, it's yours. I said, what do you mean it's mine? He said, well, that big boat is yours.
Oh, to auction it off or something big?
Yeah, he said, it's yours, you do whatever you can to get money for it. He said, I have two stipulations. One is, it's not yours to use, it's yours to sell. I said, no problem, we won't be in it. And he said, the other stipulation is, I want to be completely anonymous. He said, if you mention anything about where this came from or who gave it to you, he said, that'll be the last time you ever hear from me. So I said, we can work with that. So, you know, just that type of thing, you know, and it's stuff, you know, I have to look back and say, well, why all of a sudden is this happening? And it's because we got out there and we let people know what our needs were. You know, at the time when I got involved, we were adopting between 200 and 300 animals a year. The last several years, we've been doing between 600 and 700 animals a year. So we've more than doubled, you know, our capacity and our output, finding homes. As we talked, you know, when we were on our little walk there, we have the numbers to support a no-kill facility. We choose to remain an open admission shelter simply because that allows us to take in more animals that may need a little extra care. We have the ability now with the local vets and the other vets around the area that work with us that we can fix animals. You know, we were in a position before where we couldn't, and we found ourselves euthanizing a lot of animals simply because we couldn't afford to take care of them. And we're past that. And so we're really, really proud of it. And we've got a great staff. We've been able to increase our staffing. We pay a decent wage. I won't say it's extremely competitive, but we pay a decent wage simply because we are a nonprofit, and we can't compete with the $19 and $20 and $21 an hour.
Well, and people generally that are involved in this type of space, they need a living wage. They may have certain expenses, but they're really driven by the mission. They're really driven by the passion for helping the animals.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
And so, I mean, I remember when I was in healthcare many, many moons ago, we did surveys as we were looking at trying to recruit CNAs, nurses, and others like that. And it was surprising. The national surveys showed that wage was probably about 4th or 5th on the list of priorities for most of those that were serving in the healthcare field.
Absolutely.
You know, they were driven by the mission, by helping, by changing lives, by all those emotive type things that you get from making a difference in someone's life.
Exactly. You know, and I see that here. You know, Carrie, the gal that was working with the dogs this morning, those aren't the shelter's dogs. Those are her dogs. You know, those are her babies back there. Same thing with Chanel up here doing the cats. Those aren't the shelter's cats. Those are her cats. And that's how they look at them. You know, they know each one by name, they know each personality. Same thing with Carrie and the dogs. She knows the history and you know, she knows their little quirks and what they like, what they don't like. There's a lot of times when I'll come in here and I'll see them taking their lunch break. Chanel in particular, she'll be sitting in here, maybe reading a book, eating her lunch, and there's cats all over the place. You know, she just, you know, I don't know how, I guess that's how she stays so small, because she's sharing her lunch with the kitties. But
Sure.
you know, and the girls do the same thing out and back with the dogs. You've seen our runs back there. They'll come out there and you know, they'll have their lunch or take a break out there, sit in a chair and just watch the dogs throw a ball now and again. And
Sure.
and so that, you know, they take a lot of pride in what they're doing. And oh yeah, I'm you know, I'm not one to be kidded. You know, the wage is important, but then by the same token, I think the job is more important too.
Absolutely.
The position is more important.
Well, and when it comes to money, I want to say something to all of you watching right now. Bruce shared about some of the very generous donations that they've received historically. You know, the boat and the check for $50,000. Those are rare occasions.
Oh, yes.
And the expenses, again, like Bruce and I were talking about, can be tens of thousands of dollars in 1 month. So the bread and butter of an operation like this, I'm sure Bruce would agree. Someone's trying to get him right now. See that? Being a board member, you never have any free time. But I'm sure Bruce would agree that, you know, those are great. And you remember in the last campaign that we did for the South Bend, Indiana History Museum, I talked about that I wasn't asking all of you for equal giving. I was asking all of you for equal sacrifice. Equal sacrifice means that some of you have been blessed with the means where you could write a check out for $10,000 or $5,000, which is our goal for this campaign, which is a pretty modest goal when you look at the number of people on the YouTube channel, 11,000 plus, thousands on Facebook. And I know that the Area Humane Society also has thousands of people that follow their work as well, and they're going to be promoting what we're trying to do for them on their Facebook page. I think they already did some post, and then also on their web page as well, so people can learn about it, again, raising awareness. But all of you out there, if you can only afford to donate $50, that's going to make a difference to the mission of this shelter. If you can afford to donate $100, wonderful. $500, fantastic. $1,000, even better. But remember, it's equal sacrifice, it's not equal giving. So don't be daunted by that. I think that's exciting news that they've had generous donors like that, but that's not the core of what's going to keep this operation going. It's all of you, and it's others in the community that can only write out that check for $50, $100, or whatever it is, based on what their budget will allow. Is that fair enough, Bruce?
That's exactly right, you know, and those were two examples of two. You know, that's a very rare occurrence. You know, and expenses are high. You know, our average utility bill is probably between $300 and $400 a month. Our vet bills, as we mentioned, you know, can run $6,000 and $7,000 a month, all the way up to $12,000 to $15,000 at times, depending on what we have done. You know, we've already had some major surgeries. We have a dog in back right now that is wearing the cone of shame, as I call it.
Oh yeah, I saw, yeah.
You know, he actually had a very unusual happening. He had a bunch of stuffed toys and rope bones and stuff that he must have been shredding and eating, and usually they pass right through, and then for whatever reason these didn't all pass through, so he had this big wad of foreign material, if you will, lodged in his stomach and his intestines. So we had to perform surgery. Well, we didn't perform. We had to have surgery performed on him to take that all out. And so now he's wearing the cone of shame. So,
well, it's a cone of shame, but it's a cone of victory when.
The fact that we can do that.
And apart from that, the dog would have died. I mean,
a very painful death.
Yeah.
You know, very painful. More than likely, he would have, you know, probably would have starved because he couldn't eat anymore. He just, you know, he couldn't he couldn't go to the bathroom anymore. It just, you know, he was very in a lot of pain in a short amount of time. So that's where it's really nice to have a vet next door that we can just take them in and have them taken care of right away. So, and we've done that with other animals as well. You know, we have great veterinary service that will help us take care of these animals and make them so that we can adopt them. Every animal that we send out of our facility is either spayed or neutered, all age-appropriate shots, vaccinations, everything. When you adopt an animal from the Oconto Area Humane Society, everything is good to go. You know, they're vet checked, they're good to go, and you don't have all the added shots that need to be, you know,
Absolutely.
done. So that's a nice benefit.
It's almost like a turnkey adoption service, really,
Without a doubt.
many respects. I mean,
Without a doubt.
it's worry-free, and so whether it's was it Bruiser,
Bruiser, the big white.
yeah, whether it's Bruiser, the big terrier, the you know, that vicious dog is licking my hand, you know, again.
Wagging his tail.
I always talk about, and Bruce hasn't had a chance to visit the YouTube channel yet, but he'll probably do that and encourage other board members as well. Our whole thing in my classroom, as I'm teaching you about sewing machines and teaching you about the history of these companies, is educating, right? Stepping out into those Facebook groups where misinformation is being distributed and educating them and saying, no, that's not the case. This is the case. And it's the same opportunity here. The more we can support the mission of the Oconto Area Humane Society, and the more we can encourage folks to come in and adopt and to change their thinking on great dogs like Bruiser, the more they're going to have that margin to continue to increase their mission. You heard what Bruce said. They've, you know, they were starting in the 150, 200 range or something like that on annual adoptions. Now they're up over 600. And that's as a result of getting out there, like he said, with Lexi and educating people and also inspiring them to say, step into this, get involved. Just this morning, I was at the restaurant and the waitress that was helping me, we just started chatting. She knows that I'm involved with vintage machines. And she said, so what are you involved with right now? And I talked about this fundraiser. She said, I want to get involved. I said, contact them, give them a call, You know, right now they're by appointment only. But give them a call, leave a message if you have to, and ask them what they need help with. Maybe it's making some donations, maybe it's volunteering time, walking dogs like you saw Dick doing with me the other day. There's so many needs for an operation like this, and the more generous people that are either in the community or near the community. Again, Bruce travels, when he has functions at the location here, he's driving 20 miles, and it's because of his heart. No big deal, I'll do it all day long. And others would probably do the same if they knew about it. But it's learning about it, and then, like I always say, it's not just knowing, but it's taking action. So it's the action of leaving that message so you can donate, supporting the cause, and finding ways either here or in your local community, getting involved with your Humane Society and helping there as well. Because like Lexi and Bruce have said, they all depend on each other. They all find ways, you know, how can we help each other out? If we've got, you know, available space, we're going to find ways to help out ones that are maxed out right now and are not able to take those dogs or cats or other critters in. So it's getting involved and it's taking action. And again, don't say to yourself, well, Bruce was talking about those big donations. I can't do that. I said to you in the last campaign as well, it's not equal giving, it's equal sacrifice. So if you can only donate $50, do it. And that way you'll have a chance to make a difference for dogs like Bruiser, dogs like Diamond, but you'll also have a chance to get involved with this contest that I'm doing. And who knows, maybe that Wonka bar that I mail out to you will have that golden ticket in it. And eventually when we do the drawing, probably here at the shelter, and I draw out those 5 lucky ticket owners. If you haven't seen the movie, you know, we're going to watch it on the 25th of this month, and you'll be able to finally see Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. The 23rd of September celebrates the 50th anniversary of this movie. Can you believe it? It was debuted in the U.S. on the 23rd back in 1971, about 3 months earlier in Europe, because that was kind of where the story was based.
Sure.
But you've seen the movie.
I have. Yep.
Yeah, so that's kind of the crazy little idea I had when I left the very first voicemail for Lexi. I said, hey, this is Scott, I'm a local guy, I'm involved with sewing machines, and I kind of just, my crazy idea. She called me back, I think the next day, and she goes, I think it's a great idea, I think it's a super cool idea. So yeah, we're offering the 100 Wonka bars, but you know, I'm open to the idea, if all of you jump on this, and it sounds like you are already, from what I'm hearing, we've already got 2 or 3 donations, and the campaign doesn't start until Monday. So if you jump all over this and we get donations for all 100 Wonka bars in the first week or so, maybe we'll bump it up. I'll talk with Bruce and others, and maybe we'll go up to 150. We'll wait and see, because I know all of you are generous. You just have to put your life on pause, make that call, go to the website, and I've got to remember to talk to Lexi, because Lexi had said, you know, donate through the website. But one of my donors last night said I couldn't leave a note to indicate that I was part of this campaign, so we'll have to kind of look at that and see whether or not there's a little place where they can type in a quick little comment saying, you know, Wonka campaign, or you know, whatever, so that you know that the folks that receive the donations here will be able to distinguish
which is which.
Yeah, that way.
Yeah, so the credit goes in the right spot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but so what message would you give to the people that are thinking they're sitting in the shadows right now? I always say this in my premieres. I've had some people. I've been doing this about 20 years, and I've been on YouTube. I've been on YouTube for probably about 10 years, and I have about it's crazy. You and I were just talking outside, and you said, I never realized that vintage sewing machines were such a robust space.
Yeah.
And when I tell people, you know, I get about 170,000 unique visitors to my YouTube channel every month, and from 126 countries around the world.
Wow, that's crazy.
And I think I'd share with you on the phone, I just prepared a machine a couple months back for a gal by the name of Heidi in Switzerland, and shipped the machine to Switzerland so she could make shoes in the Swiss Alps. You know, it almost sounds like a made-up story.
Yeah,
but
of course her name is Heidi. What else would it be, right?
But I even, all of you know this, I follow my work, and Bruce can check it out himself. I interviewed Heidi. I called her in Switzerland. It took a couple times to get through, but she was a real gal, and she's probably, as we speak, you know, at her class, because it's a year-long class, and she's making shoes, and then eventually is going to be doing this for a business, just like a lot of you did. And you know, as this pandemic kind of rained in on us, a lot of you that lost your jobs, or you were downsized, or you weren't able to go into work, or you were fearful of going into work, started your own home-based businesses that were sewing-based. I know, because I supplied a lot of you with sewing machines, so you could do leather goods, you could make alterations, or whatever you wanted to do. And so there's a real opportunity out there for, you know, as we're raising awareness about vintage sewing machines, to also be talking about the needs of this specific humane society, this you know, Oconto area humane society that's trying to make a difference, not just in Oconto, but the surrounding areas and all over the place. You know, as they're able to do it, they're going to continue to expand that mission as people like us do our little bit to try to help them out and to try to make a difference. So let me just encourage you. Just like many of you have said to me when you finally have stepped out of the shadows, Scott, I've been following you on YouTube for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years. From the very beginning, back when you were really awkward and you didn't seem to really know what you were talking about very much. And now you're like one of the world-renowned experts in your little space of vintage sewing machines. Let me encourage all of you that are still sitting in the shadows right now to step out. Step out for this cause. Step out and make a difference. Many of you did that with the last campaign, and look at what happened. We started that campaign not really knowing what was going to come about it, you know, with it. We're supporting a history museum that's not even in Wisconsin, all the way down in Indiana. And yet people from all over the country stepped forward and said, let's support it, let's do this. It's something that Scott believes in, it's something that we believe in. I believe in this humane society. I've had a chance to adopt a wonderful, wonderful dog, Hank. All of you know him. And you met Bruiser, you met Diamond, you met all these other wonderful animals that we saw when we walked through the shelter with Lexi. Get out of the shadows, make a difference, and support this cause. Let's start with 5,000 in mind. Maybe we can go above that. Maybe we can go 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000. And we can always circle back and do another fundraiser like this again. So, Bruce, any final words? And all these folks know they're so patient with me. I have the gift of gab. I can just blah 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 all day long. But what message would you like to deliver to them on the needs of this shelter and why you would encourage them to step out of the shadows and get involved?
You know, I guess probably the big thing is, you know, and we printed on some of our shirts that we have available. You know, we look at our jobs here, our positions here, we're saving lives. You know, we're saving lives of not people, but we're saving lives of animals. And I've seen it and I've heard it where people will say, you know, I don't know who rescued who. You know, yeah, I rescued the animal from the shelter, but, you know, I rescued him at a time when I needed to be rescued. And, you know, you're making a big difference. You can't save all the animals, but you can save the one, or you can save two. And you'd be surprised, these rescue animals, you know, they just got so much love to give. You know, they've in a lot of cases had a pretty rough go of it for a while. We bring them here, we give them the best that we possibly can, you know, with vet care, with food, with, you know, just socialization. And we get them as ready as we possibly can for people to come in and adopt them and take them home, and then continue to give them what we started and expand on it. So we look at our position here as we're really lifesavers. You know, we save the lives of the animals. And to do that, of course, we have big needs. You know, we have big vet bills, we have big utility bills, you know, we have labor costs, we have food costs, we've got medicine costs. There's just a lot of expense that it takes that people just don't realize how much it takes to run an animal shelter. You know, just keeping the lights on is $300 to $500 a month, especially now with the air conditioning season. You know, we'll peak sometimes at $600 a month. Vet bills, as we've talked in the past, anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 a month is pretty much on average. Labor costs, not quite that high, but they're very high. Between vets and labor costs, that's our two biggest costs. So financially, we need a lot of support and we need a lot of help there. We operate strictly on fundraising, on donations. Pretty much, as I've kind of kidded in the past, we stop short of stealing to try and get enough money to keep our doors open. We don't do that, but you know, we don't get any funding from the county, we don't get funding from the state, we don't get funding from the federal government. We're a 501c3 non-for-profit organization, so any donations of cash donations are completely tax deductible. For large donations, we can give you a receipt, whether it's, you know, I mentioned in the boat in the past, obviously that guy wanted a tax donation. You know, so we can give you a receipt that'll work good on your taxes. You know, we make it extremely easy for you to donate. If it's a large enough donation, or I shouldn't say large enough, if you need help bringing a donation in, I've already went out and offered to pick stuff up and help pick stuff up from people. You know, we have local barrels set up in different localities, you know, that we periodically check and bring. If people want to drop something off, we drop it off to them there, so, or pick it up from there.
Well, and I saw behind the shelter too, you collect aluminum cans also.
We collect aluminum cans. There's also another facility in town here over by the credit union. A gentleman put up a cage there, so we pick the cans up there as well. I think we've emptied that cage 4 times already this year.
Oh wow!
And each time we do that, it's right around 1,000 pounds. So, you know, it's a lot of cans. It takes a lot of aluminum cans to make a pound.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of cans in there, and they all get hauled out by a local person here in town. And, you know, she picks them up, she pays us cash for them, and then she hauls them in, so. But, yeah, any donation, as you said, we can definitely use. We try and make it as easy as possible for anybody to donate. Like I said, we'll go pick stuff up. We have website donations. Just try and make it easy so that
Sure.
we can keep our doors open and keep our animals happy and healthy.
So the message that I'm hearing from Bruce, at least as one of the members of the board of directors, is get involved, help. They need help. The pandemic has hit, as all of you know, I don't need to preach to the choir. The pandemic has hit businesses of every type, but particularly when you have a business like this that depends on people coming in to see the animals, just as you had an opportunity to see when we walked through with Lexi. We saw that beautiful new litter of kittens, and we saw the puppies, and we had a chance to walk with Diamond, and now we've had a chance to walk with Bruiser as well. Mm-hmm. And it's that opportunity to come in and to see those things. And when people can't do it, guess what happens? Those bills that Bruce talked about, they keep coming in. You can't just say to the Postal Service or the people that are issuing the bill, could you hold on to those for a little bit? We're kind of having a slow spell right now, and circle back with us in about 2 months or so, and then we'll see what we can do with that. They don't want to hear that. They have the constant demand and need to have resources to support this mission. And Bruce just said something I think that was really, really, it impacted me as he said it. He said, we're saving lives. We're saving lives here. And I think of a story, and I'm sure Bruce has heard this story before. There's this guy walking along the shore, some ocean or wherever, and many of you that have donated in the past to to support what I do and sent machines to me live in California, live in Washington State, you live in Oregon, you live on the East Coast over there, so you're right on the ocean. And you've heard the story of the guy walking along the shore, and somebody sees him. He's reaching down, picking something up and throwing it back in the water. He walks a little bit further, picks something up off the ground, throws it in the water. Finally, this person walks up to this guy, and he's curious. What is this guy doing? What is he up to? And the guy explains, well, I'm picking up shellfish that have washed ashore, and if I don't bend over and pick them up, the sun is going to come out, the tide recedes, and they're going to die. And the guy that was curious, he says, well, can you really make a difference? And at that point, he's holding one up, and he goes, well, to this one I can. And he throws it back into the ocean. So you're that person right now walking on that, along the shore of that ocean or that lake or that river, or whatever it is. You take time to bend over and to pick up and to help out. That little action can make a difference between a dog, cat, a rabbit, a guinea pig, living or dying. Because without a margin, a shelter like this or any shelter can't have and can't support the mission that they have, especially as awareness grows and the demand continues to increase. That income or those donations needs to rise up to make that possible. So you can't give a boat. Who cares? That doesn't matter. You can't write out a check for $50,000. Doesn't matter. Do what you can do. Not equal giving, equal sacrifice. Equal sacrifice, okay? Well, Bruce, I'm so grateful for your time. Any parting words you want to give to the folks that are, again, kind of sitting in the shadows and should I, shouldn't I? Well, I got these expenses, does my $50 really make a difference?
It does. It really does. And it just, you just think about what you're actually donating to. You're donating to a local organization. 100% of the proceeds, 100% of whatever is given to us is used by us. The entire board of directors is all volunteer. The only paid members of the Oconto Area Humane Society are people that are directly working in this facility, the ones that are actually working with the animals. As a board of directors member, whether you're an officer or whether you're just, you know, a board member, there is no compensation. You know, everything that comes through the door from a financial standpoint is used to care for the animals. So I guess that's really what I want to leave you with. You know, the fact that we're here providing a service. You know, we do more than just house animals. You know, we microchip, we hold strays. If you know, if your dog is lost and it gets turned in somewhere, pretty good chance that it'll be brought to our facility. You know, we post that on our website, we post that on Facebook, and it just become a norm that you just, well, check with the shelter, you know, see if he's there. We can scan for microchips to see, and that's a, you know, I guess just kind of a thing. Wherever I talk, whenever I have the opportunity to get in front of an audience, I always remind everybody, spay and neuter your pets, control the pet population, and if you do have an animal, have it microchipped. It's a very, very low cost type of insurance that if your pet gets lost, there's a pretty good chance it's going to get back to you.
Well, and while this is a local shelter, let me remind you guys, I don't think the last campaign that we did in South Bend, Indiana, I don't think we had a single donor from Indiana. All of you jumped in, and I kept beating the people up in Indiana, saying, where are my Hoosiers? Where are my Hoosiers? So while this is a local area shelter to Oconto, remember why we're doing this. We're doing this because we love animals. We're doing this because of the Apollos, and because of the Coopers down in Texas. And all of you that are regular followers already know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the regular people that have always stepped forward and always have helped out. They don't care if it's local or not. They love animals. And all of you as well love Hank, because during a live premiere, I'll be at a major focus point on a machine trying to explain something. And all of a sudden you'll hear him go berserk upstairs because UPS or FedEx is dropping off a sewing machine that may have come from Canada or Australia, or who knows where it came from. He doesn't care. He just wants us to know, kind of like when we were just walking with Bruiser, and he was like, hey, I'm walking with Bruce and Scott here. Just stay away to the other dog. You know, he's just very protective, and all of your pets as well, whether they're a cat, a dog. Bill, you down in Florida love your birds. Support this cause because you'll love animals, and know that it's going to make a difference for all of the friends of Hank. Because Hank used to be in one of these kennels before I adopted him and brought him, you know, to his forever home. So support it because you love animals. Support it because it's the right thing to do. Support it, you know, as best as you can. Again, it doesn't have to be a big donation. Just jump into it. Take a step of faith. Take a step of faith, just as many of you did in the last campaign. The last campaign, and Bruce doesn't know this, but a lot of our major donors for the last campaign at the time, because of the pandemic, had lost their jobs. All they had was unemployment. And yet they still, because they believed in the cause, because they said, Scott, if you believe in it, we believe in it, they stepped forward in faith and made that donation. Sometimes hundreds of dollars. Some of our donors, thousands of dollars to that.
Yeah.
And it's because in your heart of hearts, you know it's the right thing to do. And I talk to you guys all the time. It's about action. It's about action. Take the action of doing it. You're never going to regret it. And you're going to be a part, as Bruce said, of saving lives. Saving lives of all the critters that you had a chance to see when we walked through recently. And we'll be doing more of this through this campaign. It's going to run through the 23rd unless we reach our goal right away. And I'll talk with Bruce and others. And if we hit that goal early on, you know, do we want to stop there? Do we want to try to reach further than that? We'll decide that. But you guys are going to be the ones that make the difference. It doesn't have to be a big check. It's every little piece of that puzzle that leads us down the path to success in supporting a cause like this that deserves being supported. And maybe the next time we'll reach into one of your communities. You know, all of you love animals. You said that right away when I presented this as an idea. You're like, what a great idea. Maybe the next time we'll be down in Texas. Maybe the next time we'll be out in New York. Maybe we'll be down in New Mexico. Maybe we'll travel somewhere else and support another local shelter that needs help from us as well. We're willing to do that. And I know you're willing to make a difference for this cause. So with that, we'll wrap up. Bruce, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, and thanks for thinking of us.
And again, make that donation. Bruce is going to help me look into the issue. I got contacted last night late by somebody from Florida saying, just made a donation on the website, but there was no way to note that it was for this campaign. So we'll look into that. Don't let that hold you back. And do what this individual did. And all of you know Emma. Emma is a regular at all of the premieres that we do. She said, I wasn't going to be daunted by that. I made my donation, and then because you posted the email, the Gmail that goes directly to the shelter, I sent them a note and said, hi, it's from me, credit it, and make sure that it goes to that campaign. So don't be daunted by, if you call here, you just saw when we were walking through, everybody's busy, they're running around, a lot of volunteers, they're taking care of all of the critters. So they can't always answer that phone. Leave a message, and they'll get back to you as quickly as they can, and then take your donation. And again, make sure you remember to say it's not just a general donation, it's to support the Wonka campaign, the Willy Wonka campaign, whatever you want to say, just set it apart from a regular donation. Otherwise, when they collect that donation, they won't know to reach out to me, and then I won't know to send you a Wonka bar, and you won't get that golden ticket. And I know Bruce probably even wants a golden ticket.
You bet. I'm probably not able to, but yes.
Yeah. Well, all of you, get involved. We're only hours away, literally, from this campaign officially starting. Many of you have already jumped into it, which is fabulous. Don't wait until the end. At this point, we're cutting off at 100 Wonka bars. And some of the donations that you've seen in the past where, people they go after it because they want to get one of my vintage sewing machines. They want to get a tour of the workshop, which is the grand prize for one of the golden ticket owners. Don't wait until the end, because if those Wonka bars go right away and we decide, hey, we're just going to stop here, $5,000 is a lot of money, it's going to make a big difference to the mission, there may not be a second opportunity. So Monday morning, leave that message, reach out through the website, then send, if there's not a way to annotate it, send a quick email, just say, boom, this is me, I sent a donation, credited to that campaign. So watch for other premieres like this, where we're going to have a chance to meet other great folks that their heart is in the right place. They're not here, because of the big bucks. They're here because of the big cause and the big impact, and the fact that they can literally be lifesavers. And I know a lot of you that are watching right now are in the healthcare field. Some of you are nurses, some of you are doctors. You're lifesavers as well. So carry that over now to this cause and make a difference, okay? All right, take care.
Thank you.